Good morning, good afternoon. Make sure you hit that like button. What's up, everybody on this space?
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
Has been drunk all day.
We always do about this time.
Referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
All right, what do you say we just hop right in because we got a lot to get to and not a lot of time to do it. How's everybody doing? It's Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I appreciate you joining me. Not only everybody here in the Blunt Politics chat, but also everybody joining us on this space as well. Shout out to the mod, shout out to Matt, shout out to all the great creators. I very much appreciate you guys and all the time that you commit to this cause. But, you know, like I said, a lot to get into. Before we start talking about that, let's bring in some of the chat. Let's thank the mods over here as well, because we have some of the best mods in the game, some of the best people in the world. Thank you so much for keeping that chat a safe place. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. We very much appreciate it. Thank you. That goes as well for everybody in the chat. David, what's up, brother? Appreciate you joining us from Colorado. Tanya, appreciate you so much. Stephanie, I appreciate you. What do you say here? Who else is in the chat? And who else is in there? We got No Money G, Roxanne, Victor, Petrazi, Dame Dog, Alyosha, what's going on? Emo Vulcan, for Flipper, Kristen, Michael. How are you guys? I appreciate you very, very much. So we'll be talking about a little more of the ICE idiocracy. Trump demanding $230 million from his own DOJ now. We'll really be getting into this, you know, what's really starting to piss me off in a way that it, you know, before was kind of expected, but now, you know, since Donald Trump gets off the phone with Vladimir Putin as he's about to have a meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and starts touting Russian propaganda like word for word, and then right after that we see Vladimir Putin attacking civilians again, attacking schools. I mean, it's just, if that doesn't piss you off, if that doesn't give you like some rage built up inside you, I'm not sure what will. We'll also be talking about the non-existent Gaza ceasefire and the settler violence that has exploded. Not only that, but Israel has detained some 45 people in the West Bank. So we'll be taking a look at that violence kind of exploding on both sides there. So anything but a ceasefire is what that should be called. And then we'll be talking about a little bit later on what we can look at tonight. We also have our podcast coming up tonight, 8:30 p.m., 5:30 on the West Coast. So make sure you check that out. But lots to get to. What do you say we jump right in? So thank you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 14 and then hopefully 15,000 subscribers here. It's a slow roll, but I think we're doing it the right way, and I think we're getting real people. So thank you to everybody that, you know, contributes, whether it be via Venmo, whether it be, you know, signing up underneath me here for a YouTube membership, whether it's patreon.com/Boston Brian, or whether it's just a simple super chat or a super sticker or gifted memberships. You guys are truly the backbone of this community, and I can't thank you enough for all the help that you've shown, you know, all the help and all the passion that you've shown this channel. So what do you say we jump right into it? There's a couple quick stories that I wanted to show here, a couple quick clips just to kind of detail the latest ICE idiocracy been going on in the news. So I don't know if you guys saw this one. Let me throw this up on the screen. Oh, thank you, No Money G. Let's go. I appreciate that. Keep on kicking mag ass, Brian. Let's fucking go. Sorry, for some reason, it doesn't give me the emojis. It just kind of gives me like the wording of it. I'm never sure how to change that, but I appreciate you, No Money G. Thank you so much for the $10 contribution. I appreciate you kicking this off in the right way. It means a lot, and I really do appreciate you being here. So thank you so much. So this is never a good headline that you want to see. Let me see if I can. ICE agent opens fire, right? And then hits a U.S. Marshal with a stray bullet. So let's see if we can just dive. This is just a quick 2-minute video kind of giving you the details of what happened. And then we'll take a look at, you know, a recent clash with the people in New York City, just kind of giving you an update, you know, showing that this stuff has not stopped. It has not, you know, this hasn't been quelled at all. And they continue these ridiculous, illegal, unconstitutional policies of just literally roaming the streets looking for trouble. So what do you say? Let's jump right into this one. I'll play this from the beginning. Pause. Let me see if I can play this from the beginning here. Check this out. So, a suspect U.S. Marshal struck by ICE gunfire. Never the headlines that you want to see. And again, this is just real quick, just to kind of give you a little example of some of the stuff that's been going on. So, take a look at this.
Developing right now, the Department of Homeland Security says ICE agents opened fire on a suspected undocumented immigrant and also hit a U.S. Marshal in the process. Fox 11's Nick Garcia is at California hospital.
So great. Not only do they have really good, like, I don't know, decision-making skills, but they're really, really skilled when it comes to those decision-making skills. Like when it comes to performing those skills, clearly they're just, spot on with the great training. Was that Dean Cain? Let me guess. Was that Dean Cain that took that shot? Because we all know the training that Dean Cain got. I'm surprised Superman would hit one of his own instead of, an undocumented immigrant that they were trying to shoot. I mean, this is craziness.
Medical Center in downtown LA. Nick, what have we learned about what happened here?
Well, Christine, first of all, this shooting happened just a few blocks away from the hospital here, but crowds have gathered throughout the day. Protesters, immigrant rights activists have been gathering here and speaking outside the hospital. Again, this is where both that alleged suspect and the marshal were rushed and are now recovering. Here's what we know. A U.S. Marshal caught in the line of fire in South L.A. Tuesday morning. The Department of Homeland Security confirming ICE officers shot a man they say is undocumented. The Marshal hit by a stray bullet in the hand.
Now, again, what is the reason that they're opening fire on somebody that is suspected to be undocumented, right? Like, what possible motive could you have? I mean, I've seen many of these videos where, we played one on the show where the ICE officers actually had to use their vehicles to ram the vehicle, and we thought that was overkill. Like, why would they have to conduct a high-speed chase in a neighborhood for, somebody that they just suspect is undocumented? Didn't mention anything about crimes or murders or, violent history or anything like that. Just the fact that they were, possibly undocumented was enough to lead them to a high-speed chase in a very populated area or to open fire in in downtown LA. Like, come on now. Like, they're just getting openly brazen and blatant about, their authority, the power that they've been bestowed by Donald Trump.
The shooting happening just down the street from Santee High School, which was placed on a brief lockdown. The incident...
Right. Just outside of high school. High school has to go on lockdown. You think they cared? You think they thought about that at the moment that they opened fire in the middle of the street? No. Don't care. Are they going to face any repercussions for that? No.
Concerning for the community.
I've worked in this community for the last 2 or 3 years, and to see this happening to our community, it's just absolutely upsetting.
DHS says it was conducting a targeted traffic stop of a man who they say previously escaped from custody, saying, quote, the illegal alien weaponized his vehicle and began ramming the law enforcement vehicle in an attempt to flee. Fearing for the safety of the public and law enforcement, our officers followed their training and fired defensive shots.
So basically, after we boxed this vehicle in and didn't announce ourselves or, didn't give a reason for what the hell we were doing, the guy who's probably, I don't know, maybe with his family feared for his life, and these guys just decided instead of, moving to the side, letting him drive away and handling this maybe in a, a more delicate manner that didn't pose so much danger to, society and the public at that time, that they were just going to open fire on the vehicle. Right. Again, putting one of their own officers in danger, shooting one of their own officers in the meantime. But that's not the only thing. Right. So you got that. And then there was, let me see if I can go back to this one as well, because you got this here, too. In New York, there was, this one. Check this out. Play this from the beginning. So this is New York City.
Overnight, protesters demanding the release of migrants detained during an ICE raid in Lower Manhattan. Canal Street, a famous destination for bargain shopping and knockoff designer goods, descending into chaos yesterday. Federal officers, including ICE agents, searching the street for undocumented immigrants as part of an operation.
They're quite literally just roaming down the streets looking for people. That's quite literally what they're doing. We're going to go here to a place where there's, known to be suspected, undocumented immigrants, and we're just going to roam the place in riot gear with our loaded weapons and just kind of round people up and maybe hope people cause trouble and we can have a reason to round them up. Like, this is like they're literally just roaming the streets looking for people, and we wonder, and everybody's wondering why everybody's so upset and out in the streets protesting and pissed off and comparing this to Nazi Germany and like any other authoritarian dictatorial regime that we've seen. This is why, right?
Security Department says was focused on criminal activity relating to selling counterfeit goods. Vendors packing up their
So
goods.
what happened to going for, I'm sorry, but what happened to going for the violent criminals? What happened to going for the murderers in the gangs, right? What happened to going for the worst of the worst? Where's the MS-13? Are these MS-13 goods being sold on Canal Street? Are they fake Louis and Gucci fucking MS-13 hats and watches and purses and fake Oakleys being designed by MS-13 somehow? Is there any relation? Because I was told that you guys were going to go after and deport the worst of the worst, right? Like the violent criminals, the people, the thugs, the people that are out there robbing and stealing and killing, right? Because I don't see that. I see literally families that have stalls on this street that literally sell these goods, whether it be fucking illegal or not illegal. Fucking kiss my ass, right? I mean, come on, let's be serious here. You're gonna go down and bust a couple of these fucking shops up, and you think that's gonna solve the problem? There's no other, there's no other stands throughout the fucking country that are illegal now because you guys took down this one street. Like, come on, fuck off. These people are sitting there trying to make a couple bucks, right? To fucking put food on the table for their kids, send them to school, pay the taxes that they receive no benefit for. And we're just roaming down the streets with loaded weapons, masked on, fully body armored up, fucking disrupting, rounding up, arresting, destroying. What happened to the gangsters and the criminals and the murderers? I mean, they're literally advertising right now that they have nobody else. They've got nobody better to go for than the fucking shopkeepers and the people with stalls and stands on Canal Street. I mean, come on. If that doesn't give you a clear, indication as to who these people are actually going for and not the worst of the worst. And, when we look at the numbers of the people that have criminal records, compared to the number of people that have been deported or rounded up, it's something like, I don't know, not to make it too much higher, but it's definitely over 50% of the people that have either been rounded up or deported have basically zero criminal record. Not an egregious criminal record, not an old criminal record, none. Fucking zilch, nada. There was the report that 60 Minutes did, I believe, on the people that was sent to the CCOT prison in El Salvador, and it was something like 70% of those people had no criminal record. And now we've seen another report where it's something like almost 200 U.S. citizens, real fucking U.S. citizens born in this country, documented passport holding U.S. citizens, have been deported or rounded up or arrested in these illegal, unconstitutional ICE activities.
It's trying to flee. Agents making multiple arrests.
It's gotten a little hairy at points with people running, people falling.
Oh, sorry, I was playing that again, and you guys weren't watching it. My apologies.
In the street and federal agents running after them.
Crowds forming as bystanders and protesters confronted the agents, leading to shouting, shoving, and at least one protester being arrested.
They were protesting what you guys were doing.
Homeland.
All right, so just to kind of give you a taste of what's still ongoing in the streets of cities like New York, Chicago, Portland, and any of the cities that Donald Trump and this administration has his eye on to send these people into next. But that just kind of leads us from one story of corruption and abuse of power to another story of corruption and abuse of power, because there's this story that everybody's got, that's got everybody talking as well, where this may be the most blatant sense of corruption, the most blatant, fucking use or abuse of fucking power that we've seen, right? It may not be the most dangerous. It definitely sets a dangerous precedent, but it may not put the most lives in danger at this point. But this has to be one of the most blatant moves to, again, enrich oneself while holding the office of president that we've ever seen in the history of this fucking country. Okay, so now Donald Trump is demanding that his DOJ pay him $230 million. Nope, and that's on top of the $250 that we'll be spending for the ballroom, because of the 2 Justice Department probes that he faced. So basically, he wants to be compensated for what he deems to be the weaponization of government, hypocritically at the same time, and ironically at the same time, as we're seeing him weaponize the government in ways we just proved in, those 2 clips that we just saw, amongst a multitude of other ways that he's also weaponized the federal government. But this is nuts. Let me make this a little bigger so it's not so small on the screen for you guys. Right? So this is, and again, we'll play the 2-minute, but Donald Trump is pressing his Justice Department to pay $230 million as a settlement for investigations he faced during the Biden administration in his first term in office. Sources familiar with the matter confirmed to ABC News on Tuesday. We've also heard this directly from Donald Trump's mouth here. I might as well put this on the screen here. We'll play this real quick. play this from the beginning. Check this out.
Sources tell ABC News that President Trump is pushing for a personal $230 million payout from the Justice Department as compensation for the federal investigations he's faced.
Well, I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that.
And again, this clip right here, I don't know if I have it pulled up somewhere else, the clip in more detail, like the full clip, but he tries to play stupid for about 35 seconds in this, like doesn't know what doesn't know what the report is talking about. And then finally he's like, oh yeah. He decides to kind of, lay it all out on the line here. But this is craziness where this is going to be taxpayer money. He's now demanding $230 million of taxpayer money to be paid directly to himself that he claims is going to be given to charity, which fucking ain't nobody buying that bullshit. But that's going to be taxpayer money paid directly to Donald Trump because of what he deems to be weaponization against himself. I mean, again, it's hard to explain the levels of corruption here and the most, like how out in the open this is. Ready?
Yeah, that's true.
That money would ultimately come from American taxpayers. The president now in charge of the department that investigated him for allegations of Russian meddling in the 2016 election and mishandling of classified documents in 2022.
And I'm still convinced the new ballroom is literally just a big storage facility for the classified documents and maybe the Epstein files that he's hoping to, fucking hide from everybody. I think he's just going to pitch everything in there and then he's going to light that thing on fire right when he fucking gets booted out or run out by the public.
Storing them in a ballroom, storage room, and even a bathroom. The president filed 2 claims against the DOJ when he left office, claiming his privacy rights were violated.
So now we know what he's demanding $230 million for. I thought that I had the clip. Let me see. I thought I had the full clip. Is it this one? It might be in that one, but I'll wait till later just because I don't want to have to sift through that. I don't know how much time we have. But there's a full clip if you want to look at it of that press conference with Donald Trump there, where you can see the prolonged trying to kind of deny and obfuscate and make it seem like he has no idea what you're talking about. Like, he's got this new line where anything that his lawyers are talking about and demanding, he has never heard about. He's never talked to the lawyers about it. He's in the dark about everything. His lawyers don't communicate any of what's going on in any of these separate cases that he's opened or is involved in. Like he's out of the loop, ladies and gentlemen. He's out of the loop. Meanwhile, he has opinions and can say that whatever the other side is saying is not factual, but has no idea what's going on, but also knows what's going on. Right. So I'm not going to, let's see if we can play this just for, what was it? This one right here. So let me see. Yeah. So we'll go into this. So the extraordinary arrangement, has reported by New York Times, would likely first need sign off from top officials in the department who previously served as Trump's defense attorneys and otherwise represented his allies. So he's got people at basically every step of this process that will basically A-okay it for him because they're just Trump sycophants, right? Like whoever's working under Pam Bondi is going to okay it. Pam Bondi's definitely going to okay it, right? Anybody else that needs to okay that as a top official that has previously worked for or under Donald Trump is going to okay it. I mean, it's unbelievable. The second claim was previously reported last year related to accusations. Let me see if I can find that whole clip, actually. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it's in this one. Let me see. Bear with me just a second. Let me see if I can find that one moment because it's kind of enlightening to see how he doesn't want to bring this up and then he does bring it up. So let me see if this is it. Oh yeah, here it is. Got it. Pull this up right here. I'm going to rewind this just a second.
And look for compensation and how.
So she's asking here about the compensation that he's requesting. All right. So listen to how he kind of makes her ask the question 45 fucking times, right? It's very clear what she's asking, but she has to ask us and repeat this question 10 times while Donald Trump tries to figure out in his little tiny pea-sized brain whether or not he either A, wants to answer it, or he's just going to, continue to lie and say he doesn't know about it, or if he feels like he's comfortable enough to actually bring this out right now and say that, yes, he is demanding it. So you can see him kind of the rusty wheels burning and starting to smoke inside his ears. And then he's just like, okay, you know what? Screw it. So I'll answer it. So check this out. Ready?
Department to look into the federal investigations into you and look for compensation, and how much are you asking for?
Who's asking for what?
Are you asking the justice?
All right. So very clear already, right? If you're the person that feels you've been like, I don't know, mistreated or whatever it is by the weaponization of the government, and you're the one seeking to get $230 million. Wouldn't that be very clear what she's talking about? Isn't that a very clear question? Okay, but the federal weaponization, you're demanding, some fucking, some sort of back pay or whatever you want to call it. Like, how much are you demanding and what's that all about? And he tries to be like, what? Who's asking for what? I'm not asking. Okay, play.
And how much are you asking for?
Who's asking for what?
Are you asking the Justice Department to pay you compensation for
compensation?
Okay, so she clarifies the second time. Are you asking the DOJ for compensation, right? And she doesn't even get the second clarification out before he tries to answer it already and is already asking more questions. What compensation? What Justice Department, right? You can tell he's just repeating what she's saying to be like, okay, to try to buy himself some time. So he's like, I don't know if I want to answer this. Should I answer this? And listen how long this goes on.
The federal investigations into you, are you asking them to pay compensation, and how much?
Into me? I don't get any compensation. I do.
So he's still right there, knows exactly what she's talking about, and compensation, like he still was like, I'm going to pretend to play dumb on this one still.
Nothing. I gave up my salary. Into me?
No, it's going to be the Justice Department. Are you asking them to pay you compensation for the federal investigations that happened to you?
Okay, so that's now the fifth time she's reworded it in the most, I don't know, fucking memorial school way you could possibly think of in order to get this guy to understand what she's saying. And he's still sitting there with like this blank stare in his face, like, I don't know, it just makes no sense to me. I know the language.
Okay, well, I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that.
And then right there, he's just decided in his brain, like, okay, I'm sick of this. I might as well just answer this. I am the king. There's nothing they can do about it. So what am I afraid of? So this is where he actually lays it on the line, puts it on the table here.
Investigations that happened to you, and how much are you asking
well,
for?
I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. No, I get no salary. I gave up my salary. It's a good salary. Not as much as these guys make.
This is the guy that sold the perfume, the watches, the NFTs, the crypto, has real estate deals all throughout the fucking planet right now. The guy that has taken money in from 60 Minutes, from what was it, ABC or CBS? Pardon me if I'm getting that wrong. To the tune of, we're talking about like billions, if not fucking trillions of dollars at this point. This guy's like somehow, the billions that Jared Kushner from Saudi Arabia. This guy's talking about the couple $100,000 in the salary that he like. And meanwhile, in the back end, he's got this is the most corrupt and the most profitable fucking term for a president in the history of our country. Like no president has ever profited and fucking, I don't know, like shysted this office, right? Grifted this office in a way that we've seen Donald Trump and his family do in this second fucking term that he has. Never. And hopefully never in this country ever again will we ever see a president grift and shyst and steal from the fucking people. And like I said, just in every way possible, rob and cheat the American people and everybody else for that matter too.
But that's okay. It's a lot of money. And I don't, as you know, I didn't take it in the first 4 years. I'm not taking it in these 4 years either. But as far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House. And
again, we're talking about U.S. taxpayer money. I just want to reiterate that is your tax dollars. Those are my tax dollars. This is not like, just some fucking fund that we have sitting around to pay the president just in case if this happens, right? And there's just 230 mil sitting around that he could just up and donate to charity. Like, we're talking about taxpayer money, and anybody that really believes that that's going to be donated to charity, I got a couple bridges to sell you. All right. But before that just kind of irks everybody and pisses everybody off too much, let's hop on to our next story because, again, we don't have too much time in our early show here. But I do want to go on and continue to talk about this position that Donald Trump continues to put Volodymyr Zelensky and the Ukrainian people in, right? Because we have been getting played. We have been getting embarrassed. Donald Trump has been getting used and abused and led by the nose by not only Benjamin Netanyahu, but Vladimir Putin for the last 10 months, right? He has allowed not only Benjamin Netanyahu several added months of destruction, but he has also allowed Vladimir Putin several more months of destruction on the Ukrainian people, right? So the deadlines, calling for a ceasefire. We talked about it on yesterday's show, where we were talking about the list of things that we can go down, where Donald Trump has reversed his course, seemingly was coming around to knowing that Putin was kind of jerking him around and, wasn't serious about a peace plan. And then it seemed like he was back in Ukraine. Remember that tweet, the Truth Social post that we highlighted yesterday, where he said, Ukraine has the ability to take back all its territory and possibly even more. And then that turned into the summit, and that's turned into the phone call with Putin. And then we see the direct 180-degree turn every time Donald Trump speaks to Vladimir Putin. Doesn't matter. And he decides to do this at the worst time possible, just before his meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, which again gives him these Russian propaganda talking points just floating around his head, and he blurts them out. And we talked about the blow up and the throwing of the maps and the yelling and the screaming, and how, of course, Zelensky was not going to go back and make a big deal out of that and probably report that, to the media. Playing his part as a dignitary, as a head of state that cares more about his people than he does about, that singular incident, and obviously the need and the necessity for good relations with the United States. But we highlighted that. I think it was a Financial Times article. But I just want you to hear it from not me. I want you to hear it from somebody else that has, more subscribers, that has more prominence, that has more visibility in this scene, somebody that may have more knowledge or does have more knowledge on the ins and outs of what's going on, not just an ex-plumber, not just some schmuck from Boston who, sits here and talks about politics, but, I want you to hear it from somebody else. And we've seen a bunch of this gentleman's videos recently. This is Preston Stewart, and this is his video titled, "We Got Played." And again, we just have to play the first couple minutes of this, and I want you to kind of, like I said, not just hear it from me, but hear it from somebody else that we respect, somebody else that we know has knowledge on this whole issue, and somebody else that's been covering this, in depth, so has seen all of the plays, have seen all of the movements, has seen all of the changes in rhetoric and the stances. So just a couple minutes of this, that way I can kind of, pad what I've been saying on this show. So here's Preston. I appreciate you guys. If you are a fan of this, if you like, supporting Ukraine, then I would definitely recommend subscribing to Preston's channel, because again, we've been watching a ton of his stuff here recently, and he's done a fantastic job. So let's get into just a couple minutes of this, so you can hear it from, again, the horse's mouth, somebody else that again has some maybe more knowledge on this area than I do.
Russia has rejected our ceasefire proposal. The White House confirmed that there is no meeting planned between Trump and Putin, and congressional leaders said they're ready to vote on the next sanctions package as soon as Trump and Putin meet, which, like I just said, isn't actually happening. So I don't know. From my perspective, it kind of looks like Putin got everything he wanted and more this last week, and all he had to do was nothing.
Took him one phone call, right? Meanwhile, Volodymyr Zelensky flew halfway around the fucking planet for a planned meeting to come here to talk about Tomahawks, to come to talk about Patriot missile systems, to talk about, putting more pressure on Putin. And what did he get? He got a vibrant Putin Kremlin fucking puppet, right? That was freshly lathened with Kremlin talking points, had them ready to go. Like they were just fucking rapid fire coming out of Trump's mouth, right? We even saw it in that press conference, and how kind of stunned and shocked Zelensky was with not only the rhetoric from Donald Trump, but also the questions coming from the right-wing media. And he was just kind of sitting in this position like this. Here we go again, right? Here we fucking go again. But one phone call to Donald Trump is all it took for Vladimir Putin to be able to manipulate Donald Trump in a way that made this meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky totally irrelevant, totally meaningless, and probably more beneficial for Putin and Russia than it was for Ukraine and Zelensky, right? We highlighted yesterday how RT, Russian Today, and the propaganda networks were already talking about Donald Trump's statements where he said that he doesn't believe that Ukraine can take back the territory. Again, another reversal from what we've seen come out of his mouth, another reversal from what we've seen him post on social media, right? Again, calling for a ceasefire for so long, and then talking to Putin in Alaska, all of a sudden came out of that meeting and ceasefire was no longer. That wasn't even a question. Why are we even talking about it, right? I mean, it's unbelievable the way that we've seen this flip. But just a couple more minutes of this.
They didn't do anything. They certainly didn't give anything up. Just an absolute masterclass by the Russian leadership. Now, there have been a couple updates here in the last 24 hours that I wanted to share, specifically with some key statements from the Russian side, starting with a comment made by Foreign Minister Lavrov after a meeting with a phone call with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio earlier today, where Lavrov said, quote, "I want to officially confirm that Russia has not changed its position compared to the understandings reached during the
that reminds me. Have you seen, you guys see Hegseth's tie? You guys see this? Somehow Pete Hegseth's tie got Jake Bro on Russian state media. If you can believe that, but it's true. Somehow that is true. In today's, news cycle, in today's insanity that we live through, that is somehow a thing. That is just somehow a thing. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Just in case you guys didn't see this. This is Pete Hegseth's tie that he wore to that, the diplomatic meeting, right? And people are, Jake Bro pointed out on Twitter that this was a Russian tie, right? If you Google Russian tie, this tie comes up. And then J.D. Vance, who retweeted Jake Bro's statement saying that it was the colors of the United States, which again, if you Google U.S. tie, U.S. flag tie, or anything like that, this tie doesn't come up because all of those ties have stars on them. The stripes are white and red. They're not blue. This is 100% the Russian Federation colors. You can see white, blue, red. White, blue, red. It's 100% made to look like that when you wear it. And again, the Russian state media had a field day. Let me see if I can. Do they talk about it in this article? And you can see, what an actual a tie might look like with the stars and stuff. But let me see, because they actually played this. Let me see if I can pull this up on the side. How do I say a Russian media Jake Bro Hegseth tie? I gotta do this quick. I know we don't have a ton of time. My apologies. Let me see if I can pull up the video. Is this it? Show my oh yeah, here it is. Here's Jay kind of explaining it right here. I'll put this on the screen. This is wild to me. This is just wild to me. I just kind of want to share this, and I know this is kind of a little bit off topic, but to show the disdain that these people actually have for our country, and I do mean Pete Hegseth. I don't necessarily mean the Russian propagandists or the Russians in this moment. In this moment in time, I'm talking about Pete Hegseth. But just to kind of highlight the disdain that he has and the little fucking, the little slight towards Russia that he gave, or he's just so fucking stupid that he didn't realize that he's wearing a literal Russian tie, a tie dedicated to the fucking Russian flag, that literally if you Google, hey, Russian tie, find me a Russian tie, that tie comes up, right? And then J.D. Vance so dumb enough that he defends it. But here's Jake Bro explaining this situation. Check this out. This is wild. This is wild.
Вот что-то я не знал про Хексета. Что-то я не знал. Но когда Хексет приходит на встречу Зеленского...
So he's saying when Hegseth came to meet Zelensky in this tie, this is what the Russian state media is talking about, and they got a picture up on the monitor here of Pete Hegseth in that tie.
В таком галстуке, то хочется сказать: капитану Хексету срочно погоны, майором будешь.
So right now he's joking that he wanted to kind of accept Pete Hegseth as one of their own soldiers, right? He wanted to kind of put the epaulets on him, as he said, and say he will be a major, right? So he wanted to kind of salute Pete Hegseth and kind of give him credit and respect for wearing this tie, right? Of course, he's being facetious in this moment, but you can see how they're making light of this as well, and how this is used by Russian propaganda. Our own defense secretary wearing this. Check this out. It keeps going too.
При этом J.D. Vance попытался сказать: ну прекратите. Это же так же.
J.D. Vance tried to say, stop it. Those are also the colors of the American flag.
И цвета американского флага.
Right, and this is Jake Bro's. We've played Jake Bro. We've had Jake on the podcast here. Does amazing work in this field. This is Jake Bro's tweet that they're highlighting on Russian state media, that was also highlighted by the Vice President of the United States, that was also highlighted by the White House, the official White House rapid response account. Like, you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. You really can't. So this is them putting it into, obviously translated into Russian. And it goes on here.
Злые люди тут же выложили откуда-то
So now they're actually talking about the website where this tie is sold.
сайта, где это продается, что галстук в цветах
And it's literally titled "A Tie with Colors of the Russian Flag."
российского флага. То есть так он и отмаркирован.
And of course, that Jake Bro posted a picture of the listing online. He also called it out correctly for what it was. And then again, it's just wild to see them using this so one-to-one, like how good they are at picking up on this shit and just how stupid you'd have to be in our fucking government, to be the Secretary of Defense. I refuse to call him the Secretary of War. The Secretary of Defense, and rock up to a meeting with that fucking tie on. It's crazy.
Я вам так скажу.
And then he goes on to congratulate Pete Hegseth and say that, there's two holidays, and he brings up the two major Russian holidays that he celebrates. It's just a wild scene. You know what I mean? It's just things that you'd never really think that you'd see. And then, the reason that it pisses me off is because as Donald Trump is praising once again and lying for once again Vladimir Putin, we're seeing shit like this. Okay? So this number is probably even higher since I pulled this up this morning. But as this report states in the Kyiv Independent, 6 killed, 29 injured in Kyiv and Oblast during mass Russian overnight missile and drone attack. Okay. So as we're hearing, I think I have it pulled up somewhere. Let's see here. My apologies, because I do have the moment. Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, here it is right here. Remember when Putin said this? We played this on the show yesterday. Remember when Putin says this? Check this out.
We strike with high-precision weapons at locations where they make decisions, where military personnel and mercenaries gather.
Okay, so remember that? We played this on the show just yesterday. And there's many more where that came from. Many more instances where you can look up Vladimir Putin claiming that they don't strike civilian targets and this and that and bullshit. This was repeated by Donald Trump, or at least kind of, I don't even know how you kind of put it. Was kind of put to the side by Donald Trump, continuing to highlight that the majority of people killed are military, are soldiers, right? Not willing to recognize just the massive extent of civilians that are being killed, regardless if the majority are militants, right? The whole purpose is to not target any civilians. Civilians should not be targeted at all, ever. It is a war crime. It's against the Geneva Convention, international law, the rules of war. I mean, it's so antithetical to everything that that the humanity stands for. And again, I know that's kind of crazy to say as we're talking about war, but still, there are definitely lines in the sand that humans, that people have agreed upon, even in these circumstances, that go too far, that are over the line, right? That's why we have the Nuremberg trials, and that's why that the whole thing has started, the United Nations, and So let's go back, because we just heard from fucking Putin's mouth. He doesn't attack civilians, right? He doesn't attack civilians. So 6 killed, 29 injured in Kyiv Oblast. Let's see. I'll make this a little bigger on the screen so you guys can see it a little better. How's that? So a large-scale missile and drone attack on energy infrastructure across Ukraine killed 6 people and injured at least 44 overnight, October 22nd, according to authorities. In Kyiv, 2 people were killed, 29 injured, while 4 were killed in the Brovary district of Kyiv. Regional authorities in the Zaporizhia Oblast, at least 15 civilians were injured, Governor Ian Fedorov said. The strikes were widespread. Zelensky said on October 22nd that Russia had also struck the sites of Odessa, Chernihiv, Dnipropetrovsk, Kirovgrad, Poltava, Vinnytsia, Cherkasy, and Sumy Oblast. Later, October 22nd, a Russian strike hit a kindergarten in Kharkiv. A kindergarten in Kharkiv. Now, I'm sorry, I could have just sworn that we heard some fucking Russian piece of shit talk about how he only hits military targets. Let me hear that one more time.
About not targeting civilians.
We strike with high-precision weapons at locations where they make decisions, where military personnel and mercenaries gather.
Okay, where mercenaries and military personnel. So a kindergarten in Kharkiv. Is a kindergarten in Kharkiv, was that occupied by some mercenary force of the Ukrainian military? Were the 15 civilians that were injured in, just one of these oblasts alone, were they, also mercenaries? Or were they exactly what they were stated as, civilians? Ukraine's biggest private energy firm, DTEK, said emergency power outages were in place in Kyiv, the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, and reported significant damage in the energy infrastructure in Odessa Oblast. I was sitting in the corridor waiting out the attack when I heard a powerful explosion. Halnaya Ivanivka Shari, a resident of the building in Dnipropetrovsk district located on the left bank of the capital, told the Kyiv Independent. For a moment, I thought the building was collapsing, but it turned out that was the one next door. It was terrifying, but what can you do? It's not the first time my building has shaken like this. We just have to endure it. This is war. So they heard explosions around 1:10 local time. Let's see here. Tachenko said 2 people had been killed in Kyiv and 29 injured, including 5 children. Again, are those 5 children, are they mercenaries? Is that where military combatants were being stationed? I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it. This seems like a residential building. This seems like a civilian. If this doesn't piss you off, again, these are shots right here of residential buildings in flames following large-scale Russian attack. This is not from mercenaries. This is not a militant base. It goes on. And this is happening night after night. And again, this is after Donald Trump sitting there talking about how, Putin, if he really wanted to, again, probably the worst of the Kremlin propaganda, that if he really wanted to, could just steamroll Ukraine at any moment, which is just the most and utter horseshit that I could possibly imagine. But Zelensky was actually questioned on this. He sat down with Kristen Welker, who I am not a fan of whatsoever, on Meet the Press. He actually made the rounds on a few of these stations, a few of these networks, which was good to see. This was after the press conference that he had with Trump, so it was good to see him get out there and be able to, speak for himself, not in a crowd of fucking hyenas. But again, I don't even care for the way that this question is posed by Kristen Welker. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to pose the question this way, and she knows better. But let's see here, when posed with the question by Kristen Welker, does Trump need to get tougher with President Putin? I mean, if that is not blatantly obvious, and again, as she kind of she poses this question as we're seeing peace in the Middle East, like as we're seeing actual momentum, as like we're seeing fucking actual like an actual ceasefire is happening. Let's just put it that way. Kristen Welker placing this question like Donald Trump is actually seeing any progress whatsoever in this ceasefire, which he's absolutely not. But she is trying to give him credit. But let's hear what Zelensky has to say in response to this question, whether or not Donald Trump has to get tougher with Vladimir Putin.
Okay, part of President Trump's success with Israel and Hamas was that he applied pressure to all sides.
Just a ridiculous framing of the question. As we're currently reporting on, things like this that we're seeing where, Israel continues deadly attacks in Gaza despite U.S. broken ceasefire. Israel forces detained 45 people in the West Bank. UN warns about settler violence. We have on camera the settler violence. This is an older woman being attacked with a club by an Israeli settler. We got that video we'll take a look at. So again, as all of these stories and many more like this, and again, violence on both sides, I will say, rightfully so, to call it out on both sides, but to think that this is in some way a success or to give Donald Trump credit for what we're seeing right now is just absurd. It's just absolutely absurd. And again, is another way for these organizations, these media outlets to kiss Donald Trump's ass. You know what I mean? And to stay on the right side of this so they can continue to get their fucking coverage in the press, the White House briefing room. But let's go on.
Does President Trump need to get tougher with President Putin?
Yes, and even more, because Putin is something similar, but more strong than Hamas. It's more bigger war, and he is the second army in the world, and that's why more pressure.
And I think it's very smart the way Zelensky handled that question, because he actually takes this like fake praise, this like, the applause that Donald Trump is like not, doesn't in any way deserve for what's going on with this non-ceasefire, right? And he's taking that and using that to his benefit and saying, okay, well, if you're saying that he was strong against Hamas, if you want to, praise him for what you think he's done over there, well, I got news for you. Vladimir Putin and the Russian military are far more dangerous than Hamas. They're far more dangerous and far more capable and far larger, and we have a far bigger war going on than anything that was going on over there. So if you think, if you're going to give him credit for that, then you have to rightfully calling him out, for not putting pressure on Vladimir Putin, right? Because this is clearly a much more capable military force, the second biggest on paper, at least, military on the planet. Then why don't we use that to our ability, which is, I think, a good way to approach that question by Zelensky here. But, that kind of brings us into this, because Trump was also questioned. I'm going to put this on the screen here. This is, the first question that he takes in this meeting here. And I just want to play this for you guys and see if you can catch it. I know the audio might not be great. Let me see if I can turn it up even more. No, that's all the way up. If not, I can repeat it for you guys. But here, listen to the question.
Mr. President, the meeting with Vladimir Putin is canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send
So he's questioned as to why his meeting with Vladimir Putin, as we just heard Preston talk about. So no meeting, no more voting on sanctions until another meeting happens. So we're kind of in limbo there. There's a circle. There's the dog chasing its tail. So one can't happen till the other happens, but one can't happen till the other happens. So not only that, but Vladimir Putin gets more time to, again, attack more kindergartens. He gets forceful rhetoric from Donald Trump against Ukraine, against Zelensky. He gets the president of the United States on television talking about and spewing Russian propaganda and Kremlin talking points, right? So he's got a win in this situation from 1 2-hour phone call. And now he's being questioned as to why he canceled this meeting. And let's hear what he says. Almost sounds like he's given up entirely on this mission.
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals, agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and
go to the line of battle. Again, just picture yourself being a military commander, right? Picture yourself being on the battlefield and somebody that knows what's going on and procedures and, tactics and the language and the rhetoric surrounding these things. And then listening to Donald Trump try to talk about these things. And you'd be like, oh my Lanta, like, what is he like? Listen to what he just say. Listen.
Go to the line of solid agreements, every one of them, but this one. And I said, go to the line of battle. Go to the line of battle. Okay, you got that? Because we know the military genius that this guy is. We've heard several times before this guy's military capabilities, such
Army
as
manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
It did. And then in case you didn't, that wasn't enough.
Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was, the Battle of Gettysburg. What an unbelievable, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch.
Yeah, as do a lot of people. And again, in case that doesn't float your boat.
Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general, and they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys, but it was too late.
Okay, so in case you question in Bone Spur's, military capabilities here, check this out. So far we got go to the line of battle, and then what?
The battlefield lines. And
the battlefield lines. Okay, we're getting closer. Okay, what's next?
You pull back and you go home.
So we're going to the battlefield lines and then we're pulling back. Okay, so then why are we going to the battlefield lines? Like, so that kind of just means that we're going to the front just to pull back. So why would we do that again? Why wouldn't we just pull back from where we are? Like, why go forward just to go back? Makes no sense, right? But again, cut him some slack.
Everybody take some time off because
everybody just take some time off, take a week or two, go on vacation. We'll pick this up in about a week or two. Don't worry, we'll hold your position. Your guns will be safe. Just lay them in the trenches. Everything should be, spick and span and ready to go rock and roll when you guys get back. But everybody just take a break, take a breather, go get a sandwich, go see a movie or something, and we'll resume this fighting in about a week or two, because that's the thing that happens.
Countries that are killing each other. Two countries are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
It hasn't made a determination. Again, no plans, no fucking meetings, no ceasefire, no more sanctions going on, no rhetoric and pressure being put on Putin. Again, just a win-win-win for Vladimir Putin in every facet of this negotiation, or lack of thereof negotiations that are undertaken. But again, that leads us to, and I know we only got about 10 minutes left, so it should be plenty enough time to, again, as I was saying, let me put this on the stage. We were talking about this, the non-ceasefire, the irrelevant and ceasefire that does not exist, that Donald Trump continues to talk about and everybody continues to praise him for. But again, it's anything but a ceasefire. That's what it should be called. Anything but a ceasefire, where we've seen, again, violence on both sides of the equation here. This is a headline this is Democracy Now! Israel continues deadly attacks in Gaza despite U.S. brokered ceasefire. Make this a little bigger on the screen. Let's see here. Israel's continuing its deadly attacks in Gaza despite the U.S. brokered ceasefire. Al Jazeera is reporting that hospitals in Gaza received 13 bodies over the past day, and the Palestinians say they have seen no real change in their lives since the ceasefire. That's because there is no ceasefire. The Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Yunis is reporting that Israel has handed over 30 bodies and remains of slain Palestinians. Hamas has handed over the bodies of 15 Israeli hostages as part of the ceasefire deal so far. On Wednesday, a funeral was held for the bodies of 54 unidentified Palestinians returned by Israel. It comes as the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, says the amount of aid currently entering Gaza is a drop in the ocean of what is urgently needed. Here's Abir Atifa of the World Food Program. Since the ceasefire started on 11 October, we now have over 100 and over 530 trucks into Gaza supporting bakeries, nutrition programs, general food distribution. So far, we've had over 6,700 tons of food. That's enough for close to 500,000 people for 2 weeks. Daily deliveries continue, and they are now averaging around 750 tons. That's much better than when we had before the ceasefire, but it's still well below our target, which is around 2,000 tons a day. So 2,000 tons a day is the target, and they're averaging around 750. So again, not enough to sustain. But that just continues on here, where we talk about Israeli forces detaining 45 people in the West Bank as UN warns about settler violence, right? So the Palestinian Prisoners Society says Israeli forces have detained 45 people, including a child, in raids since last night in occupied West Bank. 45 people in a night. The group describes Israeli forces as having vandalized homes and repeatedly assaulted detainees and their relatives. It comes as the UN Human Rights Office in the occupied Palestinian territory is warning about an alarming rise in Israeli settler violence against Palestinians, as the olive harvest season gets underway, which is hugely important for these Palestinians right now, especially in this time. So far in 2025, there were over 750 Israeli settler attacks, which is a 13% increase from last year. Right. And then we have this that we wanted to take a look at, just in case, a lot of people are like, well, you can't prove that. There's nothing to prove. Let's see if I can go to this one, put this on your screen. And again, this is an American lawyer, in case you're wondering if this is some Hamas video to kind of make the Israeli settlers look bad. This is an American lawyer, and it gives its description throughout the way. Let me see if I can do this. Why is it following my mouse? I don't know. I'll put it at the beginning. Right. Put this like this. So October 19, 2025, settler attack on the first day of olive harvest in Termasaya. Israeli soldier led us directly into an ambush. Can I speed this up? No. So 7:20, for safety purposes, all the local farmers gathered to head out to the fields in one caravan. $7:38, settler with a gun blocks the road and several other settlers behind him. Caravan turns around to try another route. So they're blocked from going to their own farms by Israeli settlers with weapons, and they try to find another route. Here's one of the settlers with the weapons you can see. More up top there. And again, it's crazy because there's a lot of reporting and a lot of video that suggests a lot of these like Israeli settlers are younger, like a lot younger than we have been seeing, you know, in recent past. It's kind of weird.
That's it. You can't
Right,
get
so they go on.
He has a gun. He has a gun? Yeah. Where's the gun?
The other route is successful. Farmers and workers disperse, and then I'll go on and play because I know we don't have a ton of time, but let's go on here where they go up. The guy finds that his trees were, you know, totally empty, and they try to leave. And then settlers are waiting at the top of the hill we came from, so we try to exit through the other side. Soldiers are waiting at the top of the hill. They actually go over to the soldiers and tell them what's going on, that they kind of fear for their lives. They're being threatened. The Israeli, the IDF or the soldiers that were up there kind of seem like they give them safe passage, and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll help you and come up there. When basically they just set them up. They just set them up. This at 8:37 says, I get out of the car and walk with my hands up to talk to the soldiers. They point their guns and question me. I tell them I'm an American. We are just trying to, excuse me. Let me go back and read it. We are just trying to drive back into town, but there are settlers blocking us. They say they'll let us drive through, talking about the soldiers. His phone's in his pocket. So we go on. He doesn't want to record. And then I walk back to the car as we drive up. I mistakenly believe the soldiers said that they would make the settlers leave. Instead, as soon as we pull up to the car, the soldiers sped away and leave us with the two settlers on an ATV, including one with a gun. There are also a few other farmers with a car with a smashed windshield. So now you can see these farmers come up. They start to bash the cars. There's a broken window, hit the side of the car. And then we got this guy basically running for his life in this moment. Right? Check this out. So this is the American lawyer running. Being chased by one of the settlers, as you can see. And then later on, he films one of the women farmers, one of the women that were working here, being attacked. So ready?
Hey!
Ready? Right here.
Hey!
So he's throwing rocks at the lady. There's the lady you can see.
Hit her! Hey! Oh my God! Hey! Hey! Hey!
8:53, same settler with the club starts attacking activists who had been providing protective presence, injuring at least two of them.
Holy shit. Hey! Oh no.
So again, to call this anything other than to call this a ceasefire is a joke. It just, words have no meaning at that point. And again, this is, examples on both sides of this that we could point to, that we could highlight, that you could talk about. It just, on no side of this does it look like this is going anywhere. Does this peace agreement look like it's going to be anything that's going to come to fruition, especially with the way that we've seen this handled? If they're just going to continue to lie about what's going on. And then J.D. Vance, as we'll talk about later on tonight. We also have Megyn Kelly coming out with a video talking about how she hates protesters now. Apparently all these right-wingers just hate the fact that we have rights in this country and that we exercised our rights peacefully and protested without violence, without the violence that the right said was definitely going to come. So Megyn Kelly's got a video. She doesn't care for the way that we protested. J.D. Vance has his bullshit that he was talking about in Israel. Again, I wanted to kind of highlight what we've been seeing and what we've been playing on this show to what you're hearing from J.D. Vance. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner had that 60 minutes, so we might take a dive into that as well later tonight. But this whole thing is just it's ridiculous to be for the media to out there giving this guy credit or to even continuously call this a ceasefire. It's just it's demeaning to the word. It just totally shits on the fact that ceasefires in any other place. And then, especially with the propaganda you hear from, people like J.D. Vance and his refusal to put a timeline on this, just kind of gives you the idea that they really don't know what they're doing. They don't have a plan. They don't have any ideas. And they're just kind of winging this. And you can see it because it's leading to chaos on both sides. It's leading to, destabilization basically on both sides and just kind of a free-for-all, right? This is just kind of a mess at this point. There's no really coordinated activity. It's just, both sides kind of doing anything and everything that they choose. But, we're kind of run out of time here on the first hour here on the early show. Make sure you're tuned in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 here on the West Coast for Blunt Politics, our Wednesday night show. I really appreciate you guys, especially everybody over there on this space. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Matt. I'll kick it over now to Jeff over there. I hope you have a great show, my man. I appreciate all the work and the fight that you are doing over there. So thank you once again to everybody on this space. Make sure you stick around here on Blunt Politics, everybody on the Boston Brian channel, so I can thank and highlight and appreciate all you guys that contributed to the show today. So I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you on this space. I will catch you guys next Wednesday at the same time, same place. I appreciate it. Take it away, Jeff. Kick some ass, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let's see if we can kind of thank you guys here over on the YouTubes. Could be a short day. Could be a short day as far as thank yous, because as we were talking about yesterday, the problems with my phone, I'm not going to say I'm no closer, but I don't have a working phone yet. I just don't have a working phone. It's been a problem with, I mean, this actually led me to, at some point, I was sending a fucking picture of my ID to AOL. Like, never thought that would have to be a thing for me to, I don't know, get storage on my phone to work and to make my phone turn back on. I just didn't think that would be a thing that I would be doing, but that's what I was doing. Apple passwords, phone numbers being associated to the Apple password or the Apple ID, but I no longer have access to those phone numbers, right? Because it just hasn't been changed in so long that I need the code that's being sent to that phone, but I don't have that phone. And you would think it would be so goddamn easy to just kind of change the phone number associated with either one of these accounts, but no, it's not. It's just not, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm ready to fucking tear my face off. I quite would like to, I don't know, maybe be a Russian and have an open window somewhere, because this is the most frustrating thing I've ever been through. I'm at like the startup process where I have to like, and again, not to mention, I'm not sure if the backup that I did before my phone was totally wiped clean actually worked. So I'm like freaking out about that as well. But sorry if anybody's tried to get in touch with me through, there. I cannot see any of the Venmo still. So I'll have to make sure I highlight you guys when I get it working, hopefully on the next show, possibly by tonight. All I need to do, I think, is call Apple and kind of have them walk me through starting this whole thing up. And then I hope the backup saved. It should. They walked me through that whole process and kind of were like in control of my phone doing it. So hopefully it worked. Hopefully at some point we get to talk about that Louvre heist too. I wouldn't mind talking about that Louvre heist, because that's crazy as well. But I just couldn't really, with everything going on and how serious everything is, really find a way to fit that in that that kind of made sense. So I appreciate you guys. But let's see if I can get to the few people here. No Money G, thank you so much, brother. I will absolutely keep trying to kick MAGA ass. Absolutely. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the 10. JD coming in with the 99 cents for the swear jar, and then Dame Dog for the $1.99 Venmo. Ironically, I mentioned your iPhone. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And I do apologize to anybody else that may have sent a Venmo. It's just iPhone-ly challenged at the moment, so I can't really pull that up. But I do appreciate the guys that were kind enough to donate and highlight the super chats there today. So I appreciate No Money G, JD, and Dame Dog. Make sure you guys are tuned in tonight. I'll see you guys tonight at 8:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 here on the West Coast. Make sure you hit that like on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we go on. And I really do appreciate you guys. And I'll see you tonight, all right? Make sure you're out there kicking ass. Stay proud. Oh, hold on. Did somebody sneak one in there? Oh, I seen you. I seen it. Thanks, mods. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. We call that the Ray Bork, the old 777. Actually, you know what we should call that? What was the movie? Shit, I can't even think of it now. What was the movie with Denzel Washington and Chris Klein, The Runaway Train? Unstoppable. So we'll have to figure out a nickname for that. We'll call that, because that train was 777, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. Kristen, I appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of you guys. Some days are better than others, and I hope to see you guys tonight. And we'll get a kick-ass show going. I promise. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you later. All right. Peace. Make sure you're enjoying the rest of your day. All right. Please. Thank you, Tiff. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Rox. Thank you, Mark. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you, Yakov, Emo Vulcan, Dame, Winston, Nicole. Thank you, Pops. Oh, all good, Nicole. No worries. You can catch the replay. Let's go, Denise. Appreciate you, Denise. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here for a year. Let's go.
You're drunk. You're drunk.
It feels so lovely to be here tonight. What a beautiful Give yourselves a round of applause. You're so lovely. Everyone's so lovely. Where you going? Nowhere.
The town drunk.
Yes, of course, hence the name. Movement, it moves a certain distance, then it stops, you see. A revolution gets its name by always coming back around in your face. You tried to kill me, you son of a bitch. So welcome to the revolution.
Yesterday's a hard word for me. Vagina. What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
Oh, get those lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
Is there anything worse than white people? White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
My superpower is being honest. I will eat my neighbors.
I am the chosen one.
How do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president? Seriously, how do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president?
Or go fuck yourself. The big, fat, sloppy United